What's up, guys, and welcome back to Skins in the Game. I'm Tim. This is J-Dubs. What up, J-Dub?
Wait, you didn't say what episode number?
Episode number 70.
Wow, we are climbing. Everything's good down here. How's everything good up or doing up north?
Everything is solid. We've had some nice weather lately, We're not quite Florida, of course, but, it's been a nice temperature. Selena and I went last Friday, or Saturday. We went down to the National Harbor, and it was a beautiful 73-degree night. Very light winds. Like, it was a beautiful night.
Have you been on that Ferris wheel?
I have not.
Right.
Selena had been on it for her bachelorette party, so we didn't do it this week. But we ended up going to one of the restaurants down there.
All right, OG, we'll do the best we can.
Yes. Have a good show. Thanks, man. Appreciate it. Thanks for stopping by. But anyway, all right, we got some stuff to talk about. We'll go around the NFL, of course, some Washington news. We'll do our final takes on the Washington versus Detroit before we close that chapter. On to the Eagles. Eagles played Monday night. They looked pretty good. Then we'll do the pick'em.
Or Minnesota looked pretty bad.
Yeah, that's how you want to take it. Yep. We'll do our weekly pick'ems with J-Dubs on the spread and find out how we did last week. I don't know. I'm sure he has the stats. And then Weddle to close the show. But like every show, dad joke of the week.
All right, I chose to pick a joke that I think is actually kind of funny as opposed to a dad joke. But anyway, this guy's walking through the park and he sees this old man sitting on a bench crying. So he walks up to the old man and he goes, "Why are you crying?" He goes, "Well, I married a young, beautiful woman, and she takes great care of the house, and every night she cooks me a great meal. And after that, we have a long, passionate night together." And he goes, "Why are you crying?" He goes, "Because I can't remember where I live." All right, that was pretty. That was pretty good.
Because I can't remember where I live. Jeez. All right. Well, there you go. One that Dad actually found funny. He didn't say at the end, "Oh, they're brutal," or
No, I thought that was a funny one. But...
Not as look. J-Dubs, your son was mad as heck. Yeah, I was not very happy during the broadcast. I'm sure we'll talk about it. What's up, DRG? Jarris watching at work. Thanks, man. What's up, guys? All right. What do you got?
You may already know this, but Carson Wentz broke a record this weekend.
Yes, I heard. Is this the touchdown record in 2 weeks for Washington?
Well, it's the first quarterback that went to a new team that through the first 2 games had 300-plus yards and 3-plus touchdowns since 1950 when they started tracking quarterback starts. It's the first quarterback in NFL history moving to a new team that started out like that. And he was number 8 in stats after 2 weeks. He's the number 8th quarterback in the NFL.
I'm assuming you mean by QBR or something, because statistically, he's tied for first for touchdowns, and he is number 2 in passing yards, actually. But QBR, he might be a little bit less because of the 3 interceptions. But,
yeah, I think it was an overall grade, but
yeah.
He's number 8. But anyway, and I love the Redskins Facebook pages I'm on that are like, "Get rid of Carson Wentz, start Heineke, blah, blah, blah." It's like, oh my God. But we can get into that when we talk to the game.
Yes, when we get into the game.
It's amusing.
Sure. There you go. Here's my what do you got? It's actually sports related this time, and I'm sure you don't know because you don't follow baseball. But it has to do with Juan Soto. So we traded him away to the Padres, and I wanted you to just take a guess out of the last 52 at bats. Do you want to take a guess how many hits and home runs he has?
Well, I'm guessing it's a lot, or you wouldn't bring it up, but I have no idea. What, 25 hits and 8 home runs?
It's actually pathetic. He was on a 3 out of 46 hits at one point, and he's only at 10 out of 52, whatever that comes out to be, way under batting 200 even, and only 1 home run in the last 52 at bats. I think that's when he switched, but I could be wrong. But either way, he has not been very good. He has come on late. The last couple of games, he's had 2 hits, 3 hits, and 2 hits, and 3 out of the last 4 games. But for a long time, it was a 0, 0, 0, 0, 1, 0, 0, 0, 2, 0, 0. So.
Oh, to coin the phrase of Steve Spurrier, not too good.
Yeah, not very good. 5 and 11, not very good. 10 and 52, not very good. Only 2 doubles, no triples in that time, and 1 homer. He has been walked 13 times, but yeah. So, maybe it's a good thing we traded him away. Just kidding. I'm sure it's just a little slow start with the new team.
Are
And
they still in last place in the Nationals?
Oh yeah, they're horrid.
Yeah,
they did win today though. They beat the Braves actually, which is funny because I bet on the Braves. So
I'm
of course,
shocked. I'm shocked that you follow baseball.
it's all because of fantasy baseball, and now me sports betting. I'm following it much more too. I've actually done really well on baseball. I've actually done really well on baseball. Football, I've been terrible. The one I follow all the time, I think I've only hit on like maybe 2 out of 10 football bets, maybe not that many. 2 out of 7, 2 out of 8, or something like that. As far as baseball is concerned, I'm like 70% success or something like that for the baseball. It's actually pretty fun. But anyway. I was pretty dang good on the NFL preseason. I wish preseason was all year long. As far as gambling is concerned, it's so easy to bet because you know who takes it seriously and who doesn't. It's like, it's a wonder that they let you bet on the preseason in some ways, because it's like one team just doesn't care and the other team really cares. So just bet on them and you probably have a good shot. But
did we talk about the preseason with the NFL Plus and
we did. Yeah, where you couldn't watch it at the
and last Thursday, now it's like they don't even have the ability of doing it, and they buy the NFL ticket. The guy at Hooligans was upset, but last Thursday, I tune in. Who was playing last Thursday? Now I'm drawing a blank.
It was Chargers versus Chiefs.
Thank you. And I tune in on the NFL channel, and it is Buffalo against the Rams. And I'm like, why is it not on? And I find out now that to watch Thursday Night Football, you have to have a Amazon Prime or an NFL Plus subscription, and you have to watch it on your computer.
Yeah, well, you may have to. Well, you could probably do it on Roku. Actually, do you have like a Roku or Amazon Prime stick or Smart TV, one of those?
Well, I have Roku, but not on my big TV.
Oh, okay.
I haven't looked. All I know is I tuned into NFL because on the information about the game, it was like Kansas City game Chargers, and they start the game, and it's the last week's game. I ended up waking up. I woke up early the next morning, and the NFL channel was on. I turned on the TV, and they actually had the live game, and I watched the game from Thursday night, and I watched it because I had no idea. I'm like, I'm not.
So you did watch last Thursday night's game. It was actually a pretty good one. It was an interesting game, but anyway, cool. Well. Yeah, and another thing is you may be able to watch it. I heard through the grapevine. Now I have YouTube, or I have Amazon Prime, so that's how I'll watch it. I should get you my login, so you should be able to watch it next week. But I have Amazon Prime. But if you don't have Amazon Prime, try downloading Twitch TV, twitch.tv, where twitch.tv is owned by Amazon. Amazon purchased Twitch a couple years ago, and I believe you can watch it on there potentially for free. They don't want to advertise that, but you may be able to watch it over there for free. But granted, I don't do Twitch. I have a Twitch.
Yeah, but I think we're missing the point of why is the NFL making it more difficult for people to watch it and have Spectrum. I have Spectrum Cable, and have Spectrum Cable advertise that we're showing this game Thursday Night Football, and then you tune to it and it's like, oh no, we're not. We're going to show you last week's game. I think it's, but expand however you want, but don't make your loyal fans suffer. That's my.
But I'll have to get you the Prime, and we have to get you an Amazon.
Well, Gridiron, that's fine. Cable is old school, but there's a lot of sports bars out there that spend a lot of money with 60 TVs to be able to play
games,
every game. And now you're telling them they're going to have to revamp their whole restaurant or bar to be able to show it, because now you're showing it on streaming. They
Yeah.
have everything hooked up through cable.
Right.
So what, you're supposed to stream it on 60 different TVs? That's where my problem is.
Fair enough. Yes. All right. It does suck. And for a lot of fans, I know a lot of fans were not happy about it. But my only thoughts on it is I love Amazon, and I think that if they somehow take it over, who knows? It could be a tremendous viewing experience in the long run. But I don't know how. But they may even be able to get like the crazy cameras that like the 3D angles or some wild futuristic stuff that like. And like that, everybody's gonna be like, "Thank goodness Amazon took this over," because they know how to please their customers. They work their workers ragged, but their customers are usually very pleased with Amazon. But anyway, all right, let's go around the NFL a little bit before we get into Washington. A lot of interesting games. How much of them did you watch? Do you have somewhere where you want to go first, or there's a lot that we could go talk about?
No, you can lead this discussion. I watched some games, but
all right, well, let's do this then. So we had some big time comebacks, right? You had Miami, who was down, I think, 3 touchdowns at one point, or 2, maybe 17 points, and they found their way to come all the way back. That Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle, 2 receivers for the same team, both had over 170 yards and 2 touchdowns apiece, as Tua Tagovailoa goes for 469 yards, or 467 yards rather, something like that, and 6 touchdowns on the day.
Yeah, that was on one of the
crazy.
TVs. I was at Hooligans. That was one of the TVs, and I'm sure Harbaugh was thrilled.
Yeah, the defense apparently for them has a lot of injuries, but Tua looked tremendous. The Jets, I think they said for the first time in their history, they were down by 13 points with under 2 minutes to play. They scored the touchdown, got the onside kick, and then completed the touchdown again. Joe Flacco completes the comeback over the Browns. Browns doing Browns things, right? And they end up winning the game 31-30 to their rookie Garrett Wilson, who actually went berserk last game. I think he had over 100 yards and 2 touchdowns for their 10th overall pick. So good for the Jets on the comeback. And then there was one other comeback. It was the Cardinals were down 23-3 in the second half. They claw their way back to send it to overtime with one of the craziest 2-point conversions. What's his name? Kyler Murray apparently ran like a total of over 100 yards on this play.
Oh, wasn't it like 28 seconds or something? The play was ridiculously long. I heard.
Yeah, he was running this way, running that way, buying time, and he finally runs it into the end zone. The little Kyler Murray doing it, the little engine that could. And they tie the game, send it to overtime, and then Hunter Renfrow, the receiver for the Raiders, they fighting for the extra yards to get into field goal range. He actually did get into field goal range, but he ends up getting hit big time by Isaiah Simmons. I don't know if you remember, I really wanted him that year from Clemson.
Yeah.
But linebacker comes up and makes a huge hit on Renfrow, fumbles the ball. Byron Murphy picks it up, runs it back for a touchdown in Vegas to complete the comeback. The Vegas fans were like popping champagne in the third quarter because they thought they were just going to run away with this. They lose, and there was also a little bit of drama of did he cross the line? He threw the ball as he was crossing the goal line.
Why do they do that?
And it took like probably 2 minutes for them to confirm that touchdown. Like the bench is already cleared and everything, but the refs actually took a while to confirm, okay, yes, this was a touchdown, because otherwise that could have been huge.
Yeah, why do we see that so often? Like, that's got to drive coaches crazy. I know it would. It's like, get over the line. Do that a yard in or a yard and a half in. Just wait till you get in. I don't, and it's showboating.
It is.
If it had lost him the game, I'd have been fine with it. Because it's such a showboat.
Fair enough. But yeah, no, that would have been just horrible to make such a great play and then just screw it up. There was some crazy other games though. Like the Falcons tried to come back on the Rams. They were down 20 points. They scored two touchdowns in the fourth quarter. They scored a touchdown, ended up getting a blocked punt for a touchdown. The Rams on the next drive then fumbled it, and Mariota had a chance to take the lead to win it, and he ends up throwing an interception to Jalen Ramsey, who just went over top of whoever the receiver was and kind of.
Which, by the way, I would not have been shocked because I picked the Rams in my suicide, and I was thinking, okay, here we go.
I went all in on Otis on them, on the money line. I just needed them to win, and there you go.
Because last year my knockout was Cincinnati against a rookie quarterback that threw for over 500 yards and beat Cincinnati. The Jets beat him. Remember that? It was like, so I'm still alive. Out of 33 people, there's 5 people left. So I just have to pick the right team this week. So
fair enough.
We'll see.
What's up, everybody in the chat? Agree the NFL's splitting up all the networks to make more money. Yeah, it's not a good idea in a lot of ways. But Tim, look at last Saturday's game. Oh, sorry, I wasn't paying attention to the college games. I know you're a huge Jayhawks fan. I get it. And apparently this Jalen Daniels, rather, the Kansas Jayhawks have been a joke of a organization when it comes to football. Like they have just been getting their butts handled for decades now. It seems like long time since they've been good. Apparently they got this nice young quarterback. And they are now 3-0 for like the first time in a long time, actually beating some pretty good teams too. But anyway, I did mention it. But yeah, sorry, I did not watch any of the Jayhawks game. NFL Sunday Ticket is expected to do Apple TV next year. Oh, geez. That's not good. I don't even watch the games, just talking about them on my 4K, or just Tim, rather, talking about them on my 4K theater. Awesome. Thanks, Dr. Pig. Appreciate it. I'm sure I was pretty entertaining last week with the game. Yeah, Flacco in Super Bowl form. Eagles gonna oh yeah, the Eagles are. We'll get into that for sure. But all right, I have another question for you. There's only 6 2-0 teams remaining. You want to take a guess at which 6 those are?
The Eagles are one.
Mm-hmm.
Tampa Bay.
Yep. And there's one more on the NFC side, if you want to close that out.
Oh, the Giants.
Yep. 2 teams from the NFC East are still undefeated. So those are the 3 teams on the NFC, and there's 3 other teams on the AFC.
Chargers?
No. Chargers lost to the Chiefs.
The Chiefs.
Mm-hmm.
The Bills.
Yep.
And I have one more. It's not Oakland.
Yeah, let's just go through the teams it's not. No, just kidding.
All right, I can't think of the last one.
It was the one of the ones of the comebacks I mentioned. The Dolphins.
My mind is just going blank.
The
so.
Dolphins are.
Oh, Miami. You're okay. Miami.
Yes.
Gotcha. All right. I didn't realize they were 2-0, but.
Dude, the Giants are 2-0 with only a point differential of +4.
Hey, they're going to the Super Bowl. They're going to knock the Eagles off.
They're going to knock the Eagles off. Yeah, leave it to this.
I'm not betting on that, by the way.
Yeah. But anyway, all right, well, cool. It was an interesting week, too. A lot of upsets, a lot of weird games. But Monday night was no upsets. Buffalo just manhandled Tennessee, and I believe the Eagles were also favored over Minnesota, and they handled them. But before we get into the Eagles conversation,
Eagles were favored by 7. Buffalo was favored by 10. So, but go ahead. I didn't mean to.
Zach's in the house. G-Men, baby. That's right. Big Giants fan for Zach. He's super happy about that. Very unexpected. I'm sure he would have said, absolutely not. We're not going 2-0. Yeah, bet my house on that, but there they are. All right, let's talk a little Washington news before we get into the Detroit game. But we did have Chase Rouillet go to IR, our center. We're going to lose him most likely for the entire season. We do sign a dude named Nick Martin He was a center for the Houston Texans, and he was a second-round pick in the 2016 draft. Didn't play his rookie year, but he did come in and played in the 2017 season, so sophomore season. He had a few years rated in like the mid-60s of PFF before last year having 36.6 PFF grade. But they say he only played 7 snaps, so how really great of a grade that could be, how serious can you really do it?
Very small sample size.
Yep. And then 2020, he was only a 56.1 out of 980 snaps. But it says here he only allowed 1 sack, and he only had 4 penalties on the whole year. I would say 4 penalties is probably about average for an offensive lineman for a full season, so not bad. But we'll see how much he actually gets playing time-wise. I know that they wanted Wes Switzer to play in there at center. You had John Toth on the practice squad, and Sadiq Charles could also play center. So I don't know if this probably is more likely just to be a depth signing rather than a guy that's going to step in and start for us. But at the same time, I think it's kind of an interesting pickup as far as I think if this guy does get in the game, I don't think we're going to be inept at the center position, which is nice, especially considering he's going to be coached by John Matsko. All right, so that was the main move we made this week, and we'll get into more of the injury reports when we get into the Washington versus Eagles game. But let's go ahead and talk about this disastrous of a football game. Oh, yeah, Keith Ismail was another one. Thank you, Austin. I couldn't think of the other. I think Keith Ismail, actually, is he on IR or something? Or PUP list or something? I don't know if Keith Ismail is healthy, actually, now that I think about it. I'll look that up in a minute here, but Washington versus Detroit. It was not a very good game. We had the first half from hell. What did you think watching this game?
Yeah, I was very frustrated the first half. They gave me hope in the second half. I do want to give a little bit of perspective on where the Redskins are, the Commanders, but you guys know me. So, the whole idea was that they're starting off against Jacksonville and the Lions, so it should be 2-0. But let's review the Jaguars and the Lions. In the first game of the year, the Lions rolled off 35 points against the Eagles. They lost 38-35, but they rolled off 35 points. This week, the Jaguars beat the Colts 24-0. So all I want to say is I know historically where Jacksonville and Detroit have sat, but Jacksonville's got Doug Peterson from the Eagles, which is a great coach. And so maybe being 1-1 against those two teams is not as bad as it looks. I know, notwithstanding the first half, it was the first half from hell. They came back and made a game of it the second half, which I was glad to see. But I just think, the whole thought process was Jacksonville and Detroit, we should be 2-0. Well, Jacksonville and Detroit are a lot better than they used to be. And I'd be interested to see how they end up the season. And maybe the win against Jacksonville doesn't look all that or looks a lot better than people think it did when they just steamrolled
24-0
the Colts.
The Colts.
Yeah. So maybe we're not as bad off, but we can talk about the Eagles. That's a different thing. But
yeah. The first half was embarrassing. The first half was very, very embarrassing for multiple reasons. Now, I did go back and watch all the film yesterday. Thanks for everybody that was there yesterday in the chat with the film review. We did it live on the channel, going through all of it. The defense, so Ron Rivera had a press conference where he basically threw a few players under the bus. He didn't name them. But he basically said there were all of the big plays. A player was basically out of position, so he didn't blame it on any of the coaches. It was basically one player, not the same player every time, but it was at least one player on each play that really allowed a huge play. Like you had the big pass on third down to Amon-Ra St. Brown, where William Jackson just decided to play zone defense when everybody else was playing man, and he just didn't guard St. Brown. Great. Derek Forrest took a horrible angle on the big DeAndre Swift run in that first half where he got into the red zone again. He said that somebody was supposed to be guarding DeAndre Swift man-to-man when DeAndre Swift fell down. That may have been in the second half, but they were playing all back. Like, the play did not look like people were supposed to be man-to-man at all. It looked like they were playing back towards the sticks because it was 3rd and 13 or 3rd and 15 or whatever, and it looked like they were just trying to guard the first down marker. And so I thought that was kind of odd for him to blame a player for not doing their job on that play, because it didn't look like man-to-man to me at all based on what they showed as far as like how everybody was acting on that play. It was just horrible angles taken to get that tackle. It was horrific.
Well,
but
and I can't find my reference because I was reading this and I made a note of it. I cannot find it, so I cannot think of the names, but there was an article I read where the coaching staff are playing people out of position, that there's a linebacker, and again, I'm sorry I can't think of their names, but there's a linebacker that's great in one position, and they got him playing all over the place, and they said he can't do that. And then they said they signed a cornerback that is a man cornerback, and they're playing him in zone.
Yeah,
and
William Jackson is the man-to-man corner that we play in zone. And then Jamin Davis, they first tried to like force him into a middle linebacker role, but they have done better about him this season, I think, being more of an outside linebacker and putting him in position to quote-unquote succeed. But he didn't play a lot this game. I mean, he only played 62% of snaps, which, I mean, I guess sounds like a lot, but Cole Holcomb played 100%. Like, usually your linebackers play 90 to 100% of the snaps, and especially a lot on first down. They brought in David Mayo, who was a disaster, and it seemed like David Mayo was in on all the quote-unquote important downs. Like that big 3rd and 8 at the end of the game where we need to get a stop to try to come back in this game, and we end up giving a huge play. David Mayo, they went straight at him. He was horrible because he is a terrible linebacker. You know, I'm sure he's a good person, not a very good linebacker, and I don't know why we insist on putting him in the game instead of a guy like Milo Eifler, who actually has some talent. Now, he may not be he may have a lot to learn as far as football IQ because he's only a second-year player. This year is Milo Eifler. But I will take him being out of position a couple times for mental mistakes where he can actually play the position, where I feel like David Mayo, he has moments where he's out of position, and even when he's in position, he's still slow, not very good, and he just gives up things consistently. So, anyway, did you hear the Ron Rivera press conference, though, that I kind of referred to?
I didn't watch all of it. I watched some of it. He just seems so not unmotivated. It's unemotional. Like,
yeah,
I don't know. It just.
But I was not happy with it because he put a lot of blames on the players, and like as if the coaches did nothing wrong in that game. I thought Scott did not call a very good game at all in the first half. Too many plays that took too long to develop. Like, we have so many receivers that can get open off the ball, off the line of scrimmage, like slant passes or going across the middle or winning on some, 10-yard digs or something. We're constantly sending Terry McLaurin, Jahan Dotson, and the rest 15, 20, 25 yards downfield and wondering why, oh, wait, we can't protect that long. It's like, because they're sending blitzes consistently, right? And it's frustrating.
Hello, which means the middle is open.
Wide open so many times. We watched the tape last night. I'm like, where are the hot routes? Where are the hot routes? Like, Curtis Samuel never would turn his head and look for the ball, even though the linebacker that was standing over top of him just voided that zone immediately. So the guy guarding him is 12 yards off the ball, 15 yards off the ball because he's a safety, like, and he's supposed to fill in. Like, we did not do any hot routes. Like, Carson wasn't looking to throw them, and none of our receivers were turning their head when they were wide open on the immediate
Yeah, so which
thing.
comes first, the chicken or the egg? Was it Carson not looking for it or the receivers not looking for it?
I just don't think it's coached. And I think that's put on Scott Turner. Like, Scott Turner has not implemented hot routes into his playbook. Is that because Carson is not there yet as far as this playbook is concerned, right? Like, he is only in his second game under Scott Turner's playbook. Like, is that because? But we also didn't see it in Taylor Heineke's offense either. That's something I was complaining about. And we also have, last thing we could go.
Yep.
The last thing I have to say is we have a $28 million quarterback that seems like he is not capable of doing audibles at the line. Forget hot routes only, hot routes included, but we also can't check out of a run or check out of a play depending on the defense. Like if it's a loaded box or whatever, but I don't like that either.
No, I agree with you. I was just going back to, I was talking about this last night to your uncle that, we're actually talking about the Minnesota game, which we'll get to later, but Peyton Manning would walk to the line and make eye contact with Marvin Harrison.
Mm-hmm.
And they would just look at each other, and they would read the defense, and they would look at each other, and Marvin would run to where the defense wasn't, and Peyton would put it right on him, and he'd get a 40-yard gain.
Yeah.
We don't have that, and maybe that comes with time, or maybe it doesn't. Maybe Carson can't do that. I don't know, but I sense none of that, to your point, the hot read, or just walking up to the line and looking at somebody and going, okay, you see what they're doing up here, and you see the spot. And to hell with the offensive coordinator at that point. He doesn't know what they're,
yeah.
You got to have some chemistry like that. And I see nothing like that. And hopefully it develops, but who knows?
Right. Like, and it doesn't need to be that in depth. Obviously, Peyton Manning and Marvin Harrison are like the cream of the crop. Like, they used to run routes at practice in the dark because that's how in sync they were. Now, would I love that?
And I did bring them
up.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, but staying on the same page is have some sort of signal. Like, Terry McLaurin was consistently guarded by their fourth string corner. One-on-one. Right? Like, yep. Jeff Okudah had a lot of times on the other side of the field, whether he was guarding like Logan Thomas or somebody else on the right side. It seemed like Jeff Okudah stayed on the right side of the field or left side of the defense for the most part. When Terry McLaurin is one-on-one, and the reason I say it's their fourth string corners because their second and third string corners were hurt. Awarrier didn't play at all, and I think Melifonwu got hurt early in the game, or maybe he got called out right before the game. I don't remember, but he got hurt in the game. And at some point, Terry McLaurin then was going against their fourth string corners, and we are not attacking that matchup whatsoever. Very, very frustrating for a viewer to be like, we have a guy that's paying $23.5 million a year, and you don't trust him one-on-one against a fourth-string corner? Yeah. Then we should never have paid him. Never should we have paid a guy like that. Not that I think that Terry is that guy. I would trust him. But if you don't trust him like that, we should never have sent that big contract to Terry McLaurin.
And I would love to sit in the offensive room or the reviewing game tape of or what they discuss on what to do. I mean, look, offensive coordinators can only do so much. They call based on what they think, but you have to have somebody on the field or several people on the field that have leeway or enough vision of the game to say, okay, well, this runoff tackle is not going to work. They got 8 guys in the box, so we need to pull an audible, and you're right. I don't see that.
Yeah, like there was one play in particular to that point. It was an 8-man box, right? And we didn't run the football in this particular play, but you may have remembered this where we faked the reverse. It was a play action, then we faked the reverse to Curtis, and then we were trying to set up a screen in the middle of the offensive line.
Oh, yeah.
That play was horrible. Horribly designed, in my opinion. Why? Because you have 8 guys in the box, and where is all the play action going, right? Play action, move the linebackers forward. Reverse, move the linebackers forward. Oh, and then we're going to try to throw in the middle of all 8 of them. No, if you like, don't suck them in right to where you want to go.
Right.
Like, that's not how a misdirection play is supposed to be. Right? Like, you're just asking everybody to come right there. It's like, if you want everybody to come right there, throw it over the top. Or throw it across the middle. You brought everybody up. Where's the crosser over the middle? It should be wide open. Right? One guy should be running a deep post to beat the safety and take the safety deep. The other guy should be running a 10-yard in, and it should be a freaking huge play for the offense.
One, that's where the question arises: is this Scott Turner that doesn't know?
No, it's Tim Turner. No, he said Tim, like comma. He forgot a comma. Tim Turner is a genius. Like Scott Turner is a genius.
No.
But go ahead. No, I was reading a comment. But go.
No, that's fine. But I'm saying, where is that problem? Is it Scott Turner doesn't know that, or Scott Turner is not able to show the guy, or the guys he's trying to show don't get it? Because look, offensive coordinators, they put out, it's like, here's the set of plays. This is the way I envision it. Here's the set of plays that I'm bringing in here because this is what I think they're going to do. Yeah. So if they do A, you do B. If they do C, you do. And maybe, maybe he's inept, or maybe the guys he's trying to teach.
Yeah, sorry to interrupt. I don't want to say he's inept. And there's some plays that were really well designed. Gosh, I'm trying to think of one off the top of my head that I thought was really well designed. I'm going to forget it, the one play in particular. But, like, there is plays that I have watched. Like, there was one last year. Let's go back to last year just because this one is in my head. We had one in the red zone where we had the slot receiver on the left side with Logan Thomas out wide, the tight end. Then we had Terry McLaurin and I think it was Curtis Samuel on the right side, right? And he had a play. We were at like the 12-yard line where both Terry and Curtis ran as fast as they could to almost the goal line and then turn around. And that sucked up all the defenders, right, to guard them. Well, the slot receiver, and I can't remember who it was off the top of my head, but maybe Dax Milne or something. The slot receiver just took from here and took off to that corner of the end zone. And he sucked up those those corners, and Dax was wide open in the back of the end zone. Of course, for some reason, Taylor didn't throw it, even though that was clearly how the play was designed, like where he was supposed to go with the football. But that's neither here nor there. He does have the ability to design really good football plays.
No, and that's the point I was trying to make is people can say the offensive coordinator sucks. Mm-hmm. And I'm not saying I believe that, but they can say the offensive coordinator sucks. But I think he comes in there with the concept, and he needs players to understand his concept and to understand what your progression is, or if this happens, you do this. And so I'm not sure. I mean, Scott Turner comes from a great line of offensive coordinators. So you have to assume that either he's incapable of communicating what he wants, or he doesn't have players that can execute or understand what he wants. And is that a Carson Wentz thing? Is it a receiver thing? Is it a line? Where does it? And it's so easy to say, oh, Scott Turner sucks, or Jack Del Rio for that matter. He sucks. And no, it's like you have a concept, and it's not an absolute when you get on the field. You have to have variables, and are they understanding it, or they're not?
That's why the audibles need to come into play. Because if you're just constantly relying on Scott Turner to call plays and beat no matter what defense they show, you're just not going to be a top-notch offense. You're not. Like, you can have so much talent, but the defense is going to call the correct plays to stop you every so often. Right? There is the defenses that stop. There's a defense that stops every play. Right? Like, that's just how, unless you're that much better, like, unless you're, the Alabama Crimson Tide versus, Podunk University in Massachusetts or something, right? Like, it doesn't matter what you call on defense, they're going to destroy you because they're just that much bigger and better. But at the NFL level, there's a defense that can be called to beat every offensive play. That's why I feel as though the biggest problem I see with our offense, even though I don't think our offense is the problem by any means, because we've put up 27 and 28 points. Awesome. Right. clearly defense is the issue. That's just one problem I see with the offense is that we have a $28 million quarterback that seems incapable of calling an audible at the
Well,
line.
and
So
I was just going to say, I've seen it before where quarterbacks go up and they read the line, and then all of a sudden they're looking at this guy and they're doing this and they're doing this, and they're not audibling anything. They're just trying to throw the defense into like, okay, you got a really good defense for what we're trying to do, so I'm going to act like I'm changing everything and maybe get them scrambling a little bit. I don't see.
yeah, move the
Carson
receiver
Wentz doing
in
it.
a little bit. Hey,
Yeah.
come here. Like,
Yeah.
scoot in 3 yards instead of being out there a little bit wider, or
Right, or just turning
Yeah.
around and looking at the running back and doing
Yeah.
like you're
and
giving
pointing
them
this
signals.
way. Yeah,
Yeah.
Whatever.
Just throw him off. I don't
Yeah.
see Carson Wentz doing that, and maybe that'll come with time. I know it's new, but
Yep, the
I don't-
Commanders have to take these next 2 games seriously. Absolutely. Are you saying Carson needs to #take command? Yep. One year he played against poopy tackles, and the QBs he played weren't that great either. Yeah, talking about Chase Young, and even then he only had 6.5 sacks, I think, on the year, and everybody was like, "Hey, not bad for a rookie. That's fine. Let's have a year 2 jump." Okay, 1 sack. Thanks, Chase.
he needs to learn more than one move.
That's true too. But anyway, he hasn't even played this year, so he's not the problem. The one thing I wanted to say about the defense before we move on to the Eagles is, after watching the film, I think Jack Del Rio's defense is not as bad as I want to complain about Jack Del Rio. I thought we sent some pressures, like sent some blitzes and stuff. There's a play here or there that you could always complain about. The one thing I hate about his defense is that I guess it's an ego thing that he says, I don't care who you have. I'm going to line up how I want to line up and try to beat us. Well, when you have Derek Forrest against their number 1 receiver, Amon-Ra St. Brown, they're going to beat us. And that's exactly what they did. Like, every time they saw that matchup, that's where they went. And one time, we did one even better. We put Jamin Davis out there on Amon-Ra St. Brown, right? Like, and you're like,
Oh, that's a good matchup.
yeah. And there was one play that I wanted to pull my hair out. Like, was it Cole Holcomb? No, it was Derek Forrest. Derek Forrest was over top of Amon-Ra St. Brown in the slot. William Jackson was the corner out wide. And at first that sounds like, of course. But the guy he was guarding was the tight end. Switch! Derek Forrest is a safety. He goes outside to cover the tight end on the outside. And then William Jackson comes in to guard the number 1 receiver on their team because you're our number 1 corner. Like, it's just common sense things like that. Like, all you have to do, run the same play, switch.
Well, and I was going to say there's only one defense that I've seen, and I mean, I'm not saying it's the best defense, but Seattle's defense, when they went through their period of being dominant, they didn't shift.
Yeah.
They basically lined up and said, they all knew what their responsibilities were, and the offense could do whatever they wanted to do, and they didn't care. It was like, nope, I got this area, I got it covered, and they dominated.
Mm-hmm.
We don't have that defense, so
Yeah, we don't have that talent
Yeah.
in the secondary.
Right.
Yeah, we don't have Earl Thomas. We don't have Cam Chancellor, like these safeties that could actually guard receivers if you needed them to. We don't have Richard Sherman. We don't have that beast of a secondary that the Legion of Boom has. But also, I would have to go look. I'm sure that they disguised some things because Dan Quinn was the defensive coordinator, and watching what he does in Dallas, I'm sure that there were some things that he sprinkled in there. Maybe they lined up the same every single time, but I'm sure they confused the offenses very much.
It was oversimplifying it, but basically it was like, do whatever you want. Yeah. We're where we're going to be, and we're going to cover you.
Yeah. And
we don't have, to your point, no, Jack needs to realize, and maybe he's hamstrung a little bit. I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Fair enough. We need a defensive mind like Tomlin. Yeah, Tomlin he's a great coach. He really is. But all right, on to the Eagles. All right.
Eagles.
You watched that Monday night game.
I did.
They look good.
Well, they did.
Good.
They did, and they were teeing off Kirk Cousins, and we can talk about how bad Kirk Cousins sucks. But no, I know we have people that think he's the savior, and we should not let him. Kirk Cousins sucks. He doesn't know how to read defenses, and if when you're hurling the ball 30 yards into the end zone, 5 yards from your receiver, that's not good. But one thing I noticed, the announcer, was it Collinsworth?
I wasn't
Or was
listening.
he?
I wasn't listening to.
Was
the
it Buffalo? He was on one, but they were commenting on Minnesota's defense, and they had the I think the cover 2.
Yeah, the soft zone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he was saying before the end of the first half, he's like, why are they not adjusting? The Eagles are tearing them up. And they played what seemed like the whole game, the same coverage, and they never switched up, which might be a little bit of the Redskins' problem because they don't seem to adjust.
I felt like I was watching Dak Del Rio's defense. That's what I felt like.
Yeah.
And I was complaining about it my whole broadcast. I'm like, we're screwed. This is the defense we're going to run, and they're getting worked. I'm like, this seems exactly what Ron Rivera is going to watch that game and be like, oh, we could do it better. But we're better. We're going to do it.
Yeah, we're going to figure it out. No. Hurt looked good.
Oh, he does hurt. The Hurts looked he looked efficient. He was getting the ball out fast. And even if he didn't, he was buying time with his legs, finding somebody open late.
Oh,
Hurts
and then look
really
at him
good.
being tough down on the goal line and being like, no, I'm getting the touchdown. Like,
did you see that he could squat 600 pounds as a quarterback?
No, I did not see that.
Yeah.
But he looked so comfortable back there. But I don't think Minnesota – look.
Yeah.
I know Minnesota's supposed to be a good team, and they're among the more favored teams to make the playoffs. But whatever their problem is, they looked inept. Their offense – okay, the Eagles are rushing 6 or 7 guys every play.
Yeah.
And I go back to the hey, where's your hot read? Or you said, where's your hot read? They are clearing out the middle linebacker area or the linebacker area.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, when you see them do that, have a receiver cut across the middle. Kirk could have dumped it off, been wide open, and made somebody didn't see it. I know he didn't, but somebody was not telling him, okay, they're gonna blitz us every freaking down.
I know he didn't see it.
I know. And all I saw him was going and just launching the ball up. And what was their
Justin Jefferson and Darius Slay?
Oh, Slay. Didn't he have 2 interceptions last night?
Yeah.
And
Slay looks good. Slay
and
looks really
Diggs.
Good.
Or wait, was it Diggs? Oh man, they were.
Oh, Diggs on Buffalo is nasty.
Oh, that's right. Man.
Yeah.
And let's just switch gears just for a second.
Yeah.
I love watching how Buffalo plays.
They're so good.
Oh my God. And I know the people I look at for picks are like, Buffalo's going to be flat this week. Okay, if they were flat and they rolled out 40 plus points, let me be flat every week.
I bet Buffalo minus 10.
I did too.
Not on Otis, but on my sports betting site. Yeah, I thought that they were going to crush, and turns out I was right on that one. But
anyway, it didn't help that Tennessee was totally inept and kept turning the ball over.
Yeah, they're not it very much. They're going to struggle this year probably. They're just not talented enough, I don't think, anymore. I think they've.
Oh, and Henry, they had Henry's number. Just get his legs to stop.
Yeah. They
kept saying, get him to stop and then get him to run laterally, and you can knock him down. And they were doing that all day. Just block his path, and his legs would stop. And I know we shifted from the Eagles game to
No, you're good. I'm about to go back to the Eagles game. I think that score does not tell the full story. The 24-7 score. If the Eagles didn't keep shooting themselves in the foot with penalties, that could have been a 40-14 game.
Yep.
Like it was like they constantly I think they had 3 plays where they had a legal man downfield, on a screen pass or whatever. A couple of false starts were happening on their offensive line, or I think they even had a delay a game at one point. If they didn't just keep shooting themselves over and over and over foot with penalties on offense because I think they ended up probably with like 8 or 9 penalties.
Yep.
7 or
Although
8 of
I think
those
that
were on offense.
I think the one illegal man downfield was a little ticky tack. It was like the announcer was like, he was 5 yards down the field. It was like, no, he was more like a yard to a yard and a half. He was not that far off the line.
Yeah.
So I'd be curious, and I don't watch this. I'd be curious to see how often a play that, like a Patrick Mahomes play where he's running around in the backfield, where are the offensive linemen? Do they really stay behind the line all that time?
I thought it was more because Jalen Hurts was holding on to the ball too long on those slants. Like I guess he was waiting for it to develop a little bit longer, and I think that was actually what was causing it. Jalen Hurts overall looked really really good, but I thought that was one thing he had to work on was he would play action it and then just hold it for like an extra half second and then throw it, which was all that they needed for the offensive line to get too far. Now I don't know exactly which one you're referring to, as far as was it only a yard and a half? But
it was
anyway,
later in the game. But
yeah,
again, I don't watch that, but I would be interested to watch a game, to watch the film of a game on how many times the quarterback goes off script and all of his linemen are behind the line. My guess is it probably happens more than you think where they go over the line.
mm-hmm,
But if you're 5 yards down the field early on, you should call it.
mm-hmm,
But if you got something trying to develop and you step a yard out, I think the spirit of the rule is you can't be down the field blocking people. But if you're a yard up the field still with the linemen, I don't think you should call it.
yeah,
But who knows?
yeah, yeah. I understand the spirit of the rule thing for sure. I get that, but anyway, Eagles overall I thought looked really really strong, and we have our work cut out for us for sure. But you ready to talk a little bit about this matchup?
I guess. I can't pick against the Redskins. I will not do it.
That's fine.
It hurt me to click that button this week because I'm like, I don't have a good feeling. I just don't.
That probably means we're going to win by 20. But
Hey, sign me up.
No, let's all right. Let's go ahead and talk about the Washington versus Eagles matchup here. So first, we'll go ahead and touch on the injuries. Right now, of course, we already mentioned that Chase Rouillet is going to the IR, so we'll have a new center in the game. Most likely, it will be Wes Switzer. As far as who's not on the injury report is kind of interesting. Both Cameron Curl, our safety, looks like he's going to be cleared to play. He had a hand surgery or a wrist surgery or something in like 2 weeks before the season, but he should be ready to play for week 3. And then we're also getting our rookie 5th-round pick, Cole Turner, the tight end, that is supposed to be a nice weapon on offense, especially in the red zone, that could be an interesting player to watch out for. Now, who is on the list? We have Daniel Wise, questionable. He did not practice for this Wednesday, or today, I should say. Shaka Toney right now is questionable. Trey Turner is questionable. Cole Holcomb is questionable. And Sadiq Charles is questionable. Now, for some reason, Washington Commanders' website that's supposed to have their injuries has the Eagles' injuries listed on there under their injuries. So I don't know who all participated and who didn't, or what limited fashion right now. But those are the guys that are all listed as questionable for this game. And now for the Eagles, they have a shorter one, I should say. Avonte Maddox, their corner, was limited with a back injury. Hassan Reddick, their outside linebacker, was limited with a knee. And then Kez Watkins, who caught that huge touchdown pass for them on Monday night, he apparently did not practice with an illness. So maybe he's just a little under the weather. So I think he'll probably be okay to play by Sunday, hopefully for his sake anyway. So those are the only 3 injuries listed for that. But yeah, as you said, you do not have a very good feeling. Go ahead and give your thoughts on this matchup, and I'll give my 5 keys to victory.
Okay, well, my thought is watching the game against Minnesota, Philly seemed fired up. And granted, they were at home, but they seemed fired up to a level that I haven't seen. I'm trying to think of the last time I felt like watching the Commanders that they were, and I understand success breeds confidence and gets you fired up, but man, they were just all at an energy level that I would love to see the Commanders play at. And I haven't seen it much,
Mm-hmm.
maybe glimpses of it, but they were so fired up against that game, and Minnesota looked flat.
Mm-hmm.
So I just hope we can match their energy because it
Yeah.
could get ugly quick. But anyway, give me your keys to victory.
All right, before we do, I'll answer this question. Do you think that Chase is going to make a difference when he comes back or an impact for our defensive line at all? I think he will make a small difference, but I think our main problem is in our secondary. And until we actually slow down the receivers for them, so to give our defensive line time to get to the quarterback, I think we're going to struggle because we're playing so far off the ball. The ball's out so fast that we don't really even have time a lot of times to even get pressure on the quarterback. But anyway, sorry.
Well,
I'll
and I
answer
think
that
we
one.
talked about that, which would, it's like a death by a thousand stabs.
Yeah.
Would you rather them play soft and have 10 plays to get a touchdown, or would you rather them play aggressive and have one get beat deep and just get it over with?
100% I'd rather just get it over with.
Yeah.
Because, first of all, if you play aggressive, you're more likely to get turnovers, right?
Yep.
You're more likely to put the quarterback in a dangerous situation where he has to throw a little bit off balance or he has to throw a little bit off timing. So you,
Out of position,
yep.
off his spot. Yep.
So that's a big thing. So if you can, even if you give up 3 big touchdowns, if you can get 2 or 3 interceptions, that's huge. Secondly, even if they score quick, that means your defense is going to be off the field more to hopefully get more rest throughout the game, theoretically, yep. Right? So if you consistently allow 7, 9, 11, 12, 13 play drives where they're taking 3, 5, 7 minutes off the clock consistently, that means your defense is getting worn down over and over and over again, which
Agree
also
100%.
hurts. So even if you do give up a couple of big plays, which is still not preferred, obviously I'd want to stop those as well, but at least that I feel like that gets your offense back on the field, gets their defense on the field quicker, but makes them a little bit more tired, so on and so forth. Blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, and again, this is not a preference. My preference would be they could hold every team to 0 points.
Exactly.
But if you had to choose between they're going to get a touchdown on an 11-play drive or a 3-play drive that took 7 minutes versus a minute and 30
15,
seconds,
yeah.
Just get it done with and get your offense back on the field. And maybe your offense, maybe you can win in a shootout. But my God, watching them just, 10 yards here, 15 yards here, 12 yards here.
Timothy Swindell has
there.
this to say about what you said about the energy. Last time I can think of was probably last year against the Bucks, where we got
call.
That upset, or maybe the 2020 season when we played the Steelers and stopped them from being undefeated. Yeah, those were big games.
Okay. That's a fair assessment. I agree.
I would say probably more the Tampa game because we came out in that Steelers game not looking very good. They actually jumped to a 14-0 lead, if people remember, in that game. So we actually started off pretty bad, and then we had to fight our way back in the second half, and we won the game with a John Bostic interception of all people. So the only positive play I think he has is in his
and the Tampa
career.
Bay game was that was...
Yeah.
You talk about Doc Walker doesn't like moral victories, but to play the Bucks to within 8 points with the way the Redskins were, I agree.
Well, last year we beat them.
Well, I was thinking
but you're thinking about the playoff game, yeah.
Yeah.
No, that was fun.
You're
that
right.
was a Heineke show. The first time we ever saw Heineke play, so that was fun. But all right, here's my 5 keys to victory to beat the Eagles. And
you need a drum roll?
No, I don't know. No, okay. So here's the 5 keys to victory. Now, this could be said for every week on this number 1, but I think this is a must this week. We have to start fast. This is not a game where you want to get behind and have to try to come back in the second half. They have one of the best run games in the entire league, and if you give them the opportunity and they have a 14, 17-point lead or whatever, they will wear you down in the second half and most likely end up with points, and you're just going to get grinded down if they have a lead. This is not a team you want to get behind.
Quick question.
Yeah.
If we win the toss, do we take the kickoff or defer?
I always defer. I always defer. And I understand the question because you want to get the fast start, you want to get the lead, but I'm never wavering off of I want the ball to
No, but
start
I
the
think
second
that's,
half.
and I agree with you. I always thought that way, but I think my opinion's starting to change because if a team gets a 10-minute drive and gets a touchdown on you, then the defers doesn't matter. The only reason, in fact, they did it against Detroit, they
Mm-hmm.
deferred
Mm-hmm.
and it was what they ended up losing 12 yards on the first drive, so that looked brilliant. But if they go
Yeah.
down and score a touchdown, then deferring doesn't matter.
I disagree because you know what the like. I like how Louis T put it, and I thought this beforehand, but I just like how he put it. You always know what the score is to start the game. At
Yep.
halftime, you don't know, but almost no matter what the score is, having the ball first coming out of the second half is a benefit. Either you have the lead going into half, and now you have a chance to extend it, or even if you're down 2 touchdowns, you can maybe score before the half, and now you
Change
have
the
a chance.
tone. Yeah,
Yeah,
I get
so
that.
like but I understand the sentiment of the question here because we do need to start fast. We don't want to get low. But I would be more worried about, you know what? I don't care if they score first. We just need to make sure we come out with points on the first 3 drives, whether that's field goals or touchdowns. I think it would need to be at least 2 touchdowns and a field goal out of the first 3 drives. That's how I feel.
No,
But
fair enough.
but even if
That's
it's a
you make a
touchdown and
good point.
2 field goals, I'll take that. But we got to have a fast start. We can't start 22-0 behind this Eagles team because that's just no, not happening. All right, I think we need to put a spy on Jalen Hurts, and that may need to be Jamin Davis, and also I wouldn't blitz him too much. I would be more worried about just containing him, and then putting a spy with Jamin Davis, and then cover on the back end the best we possibly could. Now, yeah, obviously we want to get a little bit of pressure if we can, but I think blitzing a guy like the Eagles or like Jalen Hurts in general may end up being a recipe for disaster because they're going to have a great play designs to get the ball out quick. That's what they did against the Vikings. And now I don't want to play off. Like I still want to play like up in their face and try to mess up timing and try to get Jalen Hurts in a little bit of a questionable situation. But I wouldn't send a ton of blitz and then put Jamin Davis on every play to spy Jalen Hurts because Jamin Davis has the athleticism to keep up with Hurts, and I think that could be a big deal for us on this game. But try to keep him in the pocket, get a little pressure on him, maybe get a little bit of a nudge as he throws one, and then moving on to my next one. I actually put this as fifth, but I'm going to say it now
Well,
because it
before you move
transitions
on,
well.
I
Oh,
agree.
go ahead.
I agree with the spy, but I want to see aggressive defense. To our point, or the point we were talking about earlier, let them burn you quick, but don't play 10 yards off receivers. I want you bumping people, knocking them off their routes, putting pressure on him. And I'm not saying blitz, do a zero blitz, but I'm saying I want an aggressive defense. Like, look, if you're going to beat us fast.
Yeah.
Just kick our ass, but we're not going to sit back. We're not going to sit
Yeah.
back 15 yards going, oh, okay. And then,
Yep.
anyway, go ahead.
No worries. No, that's good. To transition, we need to capitalize on any mistakes they make. They're not going to make a ton of mistakes. We had a dropped interception last week against Jared Goff. That could have changed the game big time. Like that would have been a great field position in the first half. Actually, be able to get some points on before we get into the second half. And I said that
Hey,
Goff
what a
was going to give us some
concept.
Goff was going to give us a couple of opportunities, and we needed to hit those to win. We didn't hit those. We couldn't complete the comeback. There you go. We need it. He's not going to make a whole lot of mistakes. He only has one interception, and that interception was off his running back's hands. So it is what it is. Got to capitalize on any single mistake this offense makes because they are very efficient. They run the ball very well. If that ball hits the ground, we got to be the ones that want it more and get that football. If he leaves a ball up in the air for a potential pick, we have to come down with it in this particular game because, as I said, this offense
No, make
is
them pay.
very
That's
efficient.
good. Yep, I agree.
All right. We need to put proper matchups on their weapons. And I mentioned it in the Detroit game where William Jackson is guarding their tight end for some reason and Derek Forrest is covering Amon St. Brown. If I see a bunch of William Jackson on Dallas Goedert and Derek Forrest on A.J. Brown or Devontae Smith, I'm going to have a big problem with that because that's going to be eaten up all game long. Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown need to be covered by our corners that we're paying double-digit million money, right? I don't really like them. I don't think they're very talented, but they are corners. Their job is to cover receivers. We got to make sure that they're doing their job on that as far as
how big of an impact do you think Curl's going to have?
Oh, that Curl is now going to be the guy that you could put on a guy like Dallas Goedert. Like, I think Curl can shut down a guy like Dallas Goedert, potentially their tight end, who's pretty talented, and that leaves your receivers up there. Now, Derek Force is going to have to be our deep safety because he is a tremendous athlete as far as speed, and he's growing as far as a coverage guy. I know Jarris doesn't think he's a great coverage guy, but he's growing, at least in that. But he's a deep safety kind of coverage kind of guy. He's not going to be, don't put him in the slot and expect him to cover A.J. Brown. That ain't going to end up well for you, okay? But it is what it is. Bet against the Mets today, which is hard to do, but worked out for you. You bet against the Mets? Good for you. I don't remember if I bet it for them or against them, but anyway, they did lose, so good for you. Anyway, on to my final thing. I want to see more short to intermediate routes. I feel like we ran way too many, especially even in the first half, but sometimes in the second half too long to develop these plays. And it allows pressure to get around Wentz, and it makes it look like Wentz is just holding on to the ball too long. Dude, you're running every route 15 yards downfield. That takes time to develop, and then the pockets press. So even if there's a guy open down that far, sometimes he doesn't have the footing to be able to actually get the ball that far. So I want to see only one player going deep basically every play. The rest are shifting and moving around and hitting them at all sorts of angles. And then you have one guy that could be able to go over the top. And if you get the right look, then you hit it. That's what the Eagles did to the Vikings. That's what I want to see with us.
Well, and I was going to say that there's the old saying that take what the defense gives you. And if they're rushing 6 guys, if they're pressuring you, then take advantage of that. So many teams, when we've been aggressive, they do exactly that. It's like, oh, you're going to abandon the linebacker area? Mm-hmm. Okay, have a receiver run through there and let him get 8 yards, 10 yards. So you're right. Take what the defense gives you. Don't think, got to beat them deep, and keep doing the short stuff and draw them in. And then once you draw them in, then try to go over the top. Mm-hmm. It's, football 101, but you're right.
We did that great against Jaguars. Yes. Remember how many quick throws we were hitting Curtis Samuel early? He had 6 catches in the first half. I don't think any one of them was over 10 yards.
Right.
We didn't see that at all in the Lions game. I think Curtis didn't have his first catch until the third quarter. And you're like, what happened? Why is Curtis running downfield far every single time? He was tremendous. Their linebackers cannot keep up with him. And I feel like we don't exploit matchups nearly enough on offense, as I was talking about before. But it is, taking the skin Sunday. Hell with it. Let's go. There you go. Gambler hitting it up.
I like it.
Will let us know what kind of team we have. HUD-Net system says. Yeah, but at the same time, I can totally see us being a team. That loses to the Lions, beats the Eagles, and then comes back and loses to Cooper Rush next week against Dallas.
Hey, I'm going to tell you, look, real quick about the Dallas thing.
Yeah.
I think Cooper Rush looked better than Dak Prescott.
Oh,
Dak has been lost. So I thought they were going to be lost. I think Dallas might figure out that Dak is not the guy. I mean, Cooper... He looked good. I mean, Did
I say it on the show last week that I thought Cooper Rush actually might help the Cowboys? I know I said it on Nati's show, but not because I thought Cooper Rush is that much better than Dak, but they started relying on the run game, controlling the line of scrimmage again. They have 2 really good running backs with Zeke Elliott and Tony Pollard. They slowed the game down. They allowed the defense to stay fresh. They gave a lot of problems to Joe Burrow and company. Hey, I think Cooper Rush helps them, and hopefully, not for our sake, hopefully they don't figure it out, but, just wanting good football to happen, hopefully Kellen Moore, for Cowboys' sakes, figures out, even when Dak comes back, we should still be feeding our running backs and let Dak hit them over the top Because when we think about like the 2016 season where both him and Zeke were rookies, Dak had incredible numbers, but that's also because you were feeding Zeke for like 1,600 yards that year.
Yeah.
Like, and just winning the line of scrimmage over and over and over again. And they didn't even have Amari Cooper at that point. So he didn't have like a great, I think he had Dez Bryant, I guess, but he was an older Dez Bryant. But anyway, okay, let's go ahead and weekly pick 'em. How did we do last week? And let's go through it again this week.
Well, I finished strong on Monday night, but after I lost the Thursday game. I lost or won 3 out of the 1 o'clock games. On Sunday, after the 1 o'clock games, I went over. Didn't win anything, and then I got both of the Monday night games, so I got 5 right. But how do you go through the 4 o'clock games and the 8:30 game and not get 1 right?
That's pretty impressive.
So I wish they would do the low end. I played in pick'em pools where the low every week the worst team, because it keeps people that aren't in the totals interested.
Yeah.
But anyway, so it didn't end up well. But let's see what we can do this week. You want me to start, or you want me to? Oh, I guess
Switzer is good to play. He wasn't on the injury report, and I just read that Ron said he'll play. So that answers my question. Yeah, he was not on the injury report. Sorry that I didn't answer that. Going over the injury report, yeah, I did not see anything on Wes Switzer, so I assumed that meant he was healthy for this game. So anyway, sorry to not see that.
No, by the way, Bodhisattva says Cooper Rush's numbers are just better, not just this year.
Isn't this year thing Cooper Rush's numbers are just really? That's interesting. I just can't believe the Vikes played so badly. Yeah, they did play really bad. But at the same time, it could have been an interesting game if like that tight end caught that deep pass from Kirk, where that would have been a 1-score game at that point. That would have made it 21-14, and then Kirk started to just
launch the ball.
Yeah, just force things.
He's a stats guy. I know early on they said he was like 10 of 12 or something, and his total yards were like 50 yards.
Yeah.
So he had like 10 completions, like average of 5. He's a stats guy. Sorry. And look, he's a quarterback. He's going to make good throws. I'm not saying he's not capable of it, but he's going to hurt you a lot more often than he helps you.
Anyway, so how many let's get back to this pick'em thing. So
okay.
How many did we get right last time, you said? Last week?
I got 5.
All right, 5. I mean, I think we were on the same page mostly last week. As
well,
far as
in all fairness,
against the spread.
Yeah, all fairness, by Sunday there are occasions where I get injury reports or something happens. I tweak it a little bit, not big time, but there's usually 1 or 2 picks on Sunday that I change just.
Yeah, don't do that anymore. Just rely on me. It's all good. No, don't do that anymore.
Oh yeah, how's that worked out for me in the past? But anyway,
don't.
All right.
No, all right. Let's do this. Go through the games.
All right. So Cleveland's at home. They're giving Pittsburgh 4.5.
Pittsburgh!
Yep, that's what I got. All right, Chicago's at home giving Houston 3.
Houston.
I'm going with Chicago.
Houston.
All right, so Vegas is in Tennessee giving Tennessee 2.5.
Vegas.
Yeah, Tennessee sucks. All right, KC is in Indianapolis giving them 6.5.
Indy sucks. Give me Kansas City.
Yeah. Jaguars shut them out. So, yeah, I like KC. All right. Buffalo, I think this one is questionable. I know Miami's doing pretty good, but Buffalo is in Miami giving them 5.5.
Interesting. What is the spread trying to tell me here? I'm just thinking, right? Like, I feel like if it was like -10 or something, like they would be begging me to pick Miami, so I would take Buffalo. But I feel like with only -5.5, I feel like they're begging me to take Buffalo, so I'm taking Miami.
No, I'm taking Buffalo. They're going to win by at least 25 points. They are just running on all cylinders right now. It seems so effortless. So, but you could be right. All right, Minnesota's at home giving Detroit 6.
Minnesota is at home. giving Detroit 6. See, that's the one that's begging me to take the Lions. I'm taking Minnesota.
No, I'm taking Detroit because Minnesota sucks.
I just disagree.
Okay. Well, we'll see.
They sucked on Monday night. I give them that, but they did beat the Packers 21-7.
Yeah, but the Packers suck. He doesn't have what's a receiver name that.
Oh, Devontae Adams. Yeah, they don't have Devontae Adams anymore. I mean, they did handle business against the Bears. Not the Bears are very good.
Well, they got better, but Aaron Rodgers seemed I mean, that first game was not telling of what Minnesota is. But anyway, that's my opinion. So Baltimore is in New England, giving them 3.
Baltimore is in New England, giving them 3. Give me New England.
Really? I picked Baltimore, but I could be persuaded.
Baltimore's defense is really banged up and injured, and Bill Belichick knows how to call a defense that could slow down Lamar Jackson and company, mostly because Greg Roman sucks at the offensive game. They only scored 3 points in the second half. Ravens did.
Right. I'm just saying that I think Bill Belichick is losing the team.
Well, they won last week against Pittsburgh.
I know. But
and Miami looks pretty strong, so.
All right, you know what? You talked me into it. I'm going to change it. And then if I'm wrong. So either way, it's good. Baltimore loses.
I was wrecked by the Bears game.
All right, so Cincinnati is at the Jets, giving 4.5.
Cincinnati at the Jets, giving 4.5?
Yep.
I got to take Cincy, man. They're not going 0-3. They're still a good football team. I think they just had to figure it out a little bit. They're starting off slow with the Super Bowl loss hangover.
Yeah, this is just I'm not picking them this week, but this is the game that knocked me out of the suicide last year.
Yeah.
Although they were given like 11 with the rookie quarterback. So, but anyway, so Philly at Washington given 6.5. You know what I pick? I can't help it. I'm gonna pick. I will not pick against Washington.
There you go.
What do you feel? You agree? If you had to bet your house on it,
I'm taking the Eagles.
All right.
But at the same time, I just feel I have this. I feel, it's like the gambler in me or whatever. I just feel like this is a weird trap game for the Eagles, and it's not even a homer thing. This is just one of those things where I feel like everything is pointing to the Eagles winning this game, and it just makes you want to take Washington for that exact reason. So,
all right, I'm just going to say something. I'm not a conspiracy guy, but watch where all the money is on Vegas.
Yeah.
And if it's like 90% on the Eagles, Redskins are going to win.
The freaking Cowboys beat the Bengals. The Bengals had the most money on the Bengals. The most money went on the Bengals, and the Bengals lost to Dallas. It's bad. But anyway.
Yep. All right. The Saints are in Carolina, giving them 3.
Saints.
Yep. Agree. Chargers are at home, giving Jacksonville 7.
Ooh. But Chargers are at home?
Yep.
Give me the Chargers. No, wait. Hold on. Justin Herbert might not play. Give me the Jags.
Yeah, but that is not a final. But I know I was going on the fence.
He has broken ribs.
I know. I agree. I had Chargers, but yeah, if Herbert doesn't play, then Jacksonville's going to win that game.
If that's the spread, I might need to go make a bet on that. But anyway, go ahead.
Well, this is based on tomorrow is the final. You understand that tomorrow Yahoo does the final spread, so these could change.
Yeah.
So that's some of the reason why I adjust my picks too.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, so the Rams are in Arizona giving 3.5.
Rams in Arizona giving 3.5. Ugh, it's just not a game I like a lot. I kind of want to take the Rams, but that makes me want to say I'm taking the Cardinals.
All right, well, I'm taking the Rams, so. All right, Seattle's at home against Atlanta, giving 2.
Seattle is at home, giving Atlanta 2?
Yep.
Oh, give me Atlanta all day, every day.
Yeah, I agree. Seattle's not right without Russell Wilson. They'll figure it out.
Minnesota's been playing strong, and they played 2 good opponents. They played the Saints.
Atlanta.
What'd I say? I don't know what I said.
You said Minnesota.
No, sorry. Atlanta is playing strong. They played the Saints, and then they played the Rams, and both of them were 1-score games. Give me Atlanta.
I agree. All right, Tampa Bay's at home, giving Green Bay 1.5.
Tampa.
Yep, agreed. All right, San Fran's and Denver, giving them 1.5.
Denver.
I got San Fran. And then the Giants are at home playing Dallas, giving Dallas 2.5.
Dallas.
Yep, I agree. Giants are going to get knocked off their pedestal. And I stand behind it. I think Dallas is more dangerous without Dak than they are with him. So
they rely on that run game. They're good. Yeah.
Yep. All right, that's it.
All right, that's it. Let's do Weddle, and we're going to get out of here. There is no show tonight for the Talking with the Enemy. I couldn't get an Eagles fan. Apologies. It's my fault, really. I reached out to a couple. They didn't reach back. I probably should have reached out to more. Not blaming them. It's most likely my fault, but I did not get one. So I got to start reaching out for people on the next week against Dallas. But Big Country won't come on my dang channel. It's irritating. I would love to have Big Country on, but he won't come
irritating
on,
and frustrating.
It is what it is. It is what it is. But anyway, all right, weekly pick'em based on the spread. We already did that. So let's do Weddle. Who are we starting with?
I'm going with Jared Goff.
Jared Goff gave us the business. So we're in the NFC, and we got nothing else correct. This is easy mode. So that we're still on offense, though, because it is easy mode. So we're under 6'4", but a low number. So we got to have like a receiver or something in the NFC. Let's go with Curtis. No, wait. How old's Curtis? 27? No, it's got to be a young guy. Let's go with Rondell Moore. Okay, we got a receiver. Higher than number 4. Older than 22. So it's either 23 or 24. Above 5'7". That doesn't give us a lot of info. Not in the NFC West. So let's go with NFC East. And let's go with Devontae Smith. Oh, wait. How do you spell his name? Smith.
Don't know.
There it is. Bang!
Wow, on 3 guesses.
Bang. Got that one right on the money. Bang, bang, bang. I felt good about that one. Love that. All right. Is Sime over 6'3"? He's about 6'3" exactly. Sime Fayoko. I love that dude. He's fast. He runs a 4.4. Bigger guy. Did he play well for Dallas last week? I don't even know. I didn't pay attention. But anyway. All right. Let's go with the stats. And let's go ahead and do the hard mode. Who are we starting on hard mode?
Have we done Miller before?
Who? What Miller?
Miller. The defensive guy.
Von Miller?
Von Miller, thank you.
Right,
I kept wanting to say Devon, but it was like I knew it wasn't Devon.
All right, so we're in the AFC. We are on defense. We're 6'3", but a lower number than 40. So that's interesting.
So that's got to be like a cornerback, right?
Yeah, a tall corner at that. A very tall corner. In the AFC or something. Or a tall safety? Right? Yeah, it would have to be, I guess. Interesting. But in the AFC, under 33, so that's easy. There's pretty much everybody in the league almost. But under number 40, that is confusing to me. Okay, so it's got to be a corner or a safety, and it's got to be a big one. So who's a big corner or safety in the league?
The AFC.
It's in the AFC at 6'3". There's a big dude. Who are we talking about here? I guess, could it be a defensive end? Could it be like a guy like Chubb? I'm just going to put Chubb in here to
Yeah, but the
just do
defensive.
something. Oh, he's still listed as a linebacker. He's a D end. It's so stupid. But anyway, go ahead.
No, do linebackers or ends have numbers under 40?
I think they changed the rule where they can have really low numbers. So that's why it's like sometimes you forget or you don't really know what number everybody is. But a 6'3", so it's in the AFC North or AFC South. AFC North or AFC South. Who's like a really? I'm just gonna go with Minka Fitzpatrick for now. Okay, so we're in the AFC North, but not on Pittsburgh. We aren't a safety.
Baltimore
so
or something?
It's got to be a corner. Who in the world is a big corner? But it's Sauce Gardner would have been a good guess, but we're not. We're in the AFC North, but AFC East was not it. So
that's
Sauce Gardner
Baltimore,
is
Cleveland, right? So it's Pittsburgh.
Baltimore, Cleveland, or Cincy. That's a tall, super tall corner. It's not coming to me at all. Because you have like Marcus Peters, but he's not that tall. Or like Marlon Humphrey, he's not that tall. That's interesting. Let's go with the...
Yeah, I'm looking through the list. I don't even see anybody.
Let's go with Ward. Just Denzel Ward for now to see if we can get Cleveland. Nope. Let's go with Marlon Humphrey. I don't think he's that tall. He's not that tall. So we are on Cincinnati. So Cincinnati is a super big corner that I'm not familiar with at all. I'm struggling to remember their corners in general. Like Eli Apple ain't that tall. Nope, it's not Eli Apple. He is also 27 though.
What about Hakeem?
Hakeem?
Oh wait, no. That's wrong position.
Could be a D tackle with a funny number. Yeah, no, it's a corner. I don't know the corners like that for Cincy off the top of my head. I really don't. Anybody have any guesses in the chat, or do you have any more guesses, J-Dubs?
I don't even. I'm actually looking at their list and I can't find it.
A Cincinnati corner that's 6'3". That's a tall corner. That's a super tall corner.
It's at least 6'3".
I'm looking at their list of corners. I don't know. Trey Flowers? Is Trey Flowers that big? Trey Flowers? Yeah, it is Trey Flowers.
Wow.
It's got to be Trey Flowers. He's 6'3". Trey Flowers. Good guess. I did not know Trey Flowers was 6'3", but MP got it correct. There you go. Way to go, MP. So, all right, cool. Trey Flowers it is. I don't know that team other than a wide receiver and a QB. Highlights why I don't play fantasy. Yeah, Jamar Chase and Joe Burrow. I know a lot on their offense, obviously, but like they have Joe Mixon, they have Tyler Boyd, they have T. Higgins. Hayden Hurst is their tight end this year. So I know a decent amount on their offense, and their safeties, of course, they have a great safety duo. And for some reason, their names are not coming to my head. But anyway. All right. That's a show.
I believe it is.
And it was a lot of fun. An hour and a half worth of show. Hope you guys got a lot on this one. Good stuff. And so hopefully that makes up a little bit for me not doing a Talking with the Enemy this week. But thank you guys for being here. It was a lot of fun. Appreciate it.
Great comments as always. Love the chat. Great sense of humor and a lot of knowledge. I like it.
Absolutely. Yeah, a lot of good sense of humor, of course. You guys are awesome. Appreciate you, peeps, and we will see
Well,
you, or I will see you
Tim,
tomorrow night. What's up?
they put up with us, so they have to have a good sense of humor. I'm just saying.
Yeah. Or a really poor
But
sense of humor, and that's why they're here.
All right.
But anyway, it was a lot of fun, of course. We will be back tomorrow night. I'm not sure about the uncut show right now with Jarris working, and Thursday's really tough on Protech with his work schedule. He doesn't get off till 6, but he also can't leave the building until the last person leaves the bank because he's a security guard. So a bunch of people will walk in like 5 minutes to 6, and now there's this big line that he has to wait until the line's gone. And so sometimes he doesn't get off until 6:30 and then trying to fight his way home. So it's a lot of work on him. So
Maybe he just stands in front of the door.
Yeah, at like 5:30, like we're closed. We're done.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, maybe. That's funny. Well, Pig is a doctor, so we got brains in here. That's right. Dr. Pig. That's right. But anyway, so yes, a lot of fun. But we will be back for the play-by-play tomorrow. That is Pittsburgh versus Cleveland. Should be an interesting game. Good old Jacoby Brissett versus Mitch Trubisky. Not the top-notch quarterbacks you want to put on Thursday night right there. But maybe we'll see some Kenny Pickett. Maybe. Who knows? The rookie first-round pick for Pittsburgh. But there are two well-coached teams at least, and two talented teams elsewhere other than the quarterback position. So a lot of interesting stuff to see. I'm curious how my boy George Pickens will do, but hopefully it'll be at least a good game, a fun one to watch. But any last words over there, J-Dubs?
Nope, I'm good. Everybody
right.
have a great night, and maybe I'll get to watch the game somehow tomorrow night.
Oh, yeah, I'll give you don't leave. I'll give you the login information. Anyway.
Just email it to me.
Until next time, see ya!
Yeah, just